What's up, everybody? I need an extra few seconds to get started, but welcome in. Today, we're basically doing the rundown Google Pixel Fold 2 and information about that device, including this really weird photo leak that, oh man, has got people talking about the design of the Pixel Fold 2. However, there is one good thing that is rumored about it, so I'm going to talk about that. We're going to get into the Google Pixel 9, just kind of go in a little bit about the Google Pixel 9, including this new trending theme of like people saying that it ripped the design of iPhone, which I did a morning vlog about it when I went hiking and talked about it for a brief moment in that video, but I'm gonna, go more in depth about that. I also bring it in and talking about Gemini, which I'm going to start here as the first topic to kind of talk about, but Gemini. But before we get into all that, I appreciate those that are dropping in right now. Saying what's up. Sneed was in here. What's up, Sneed? Tony, welcome in. Appreciate you for coming in and hanging out with us today. It's always good to have you guys here. And then just on anything that I'm talking about, any subject I'm talking about, if you guys just want to jump in and just kind of give your thoughts, whether it's on Gemini, Google Pixel 9, Pixel Fold 2, feel free to go ahead and do it. Of course, there's going to be like a wrap-up session where we just kind of talk about all three subjects, and you guys really just grind in on your points. I would love to know your guys' thoughts about all this. First of all, let me just say this. Google can't keep anything under wraps at all whatsoever. I mean, the Pixel 8 just came out a couple of months ago, and we're already getting leaked info on the Pixel 9, but we're also getting leaked info on the Google Pixel Fold 2. So that's a ways away, right? Not entirely sure what Google plans to do in the future as far as keeping things under wraps, or maybe they're not even trying to keep anything wrapped up anymore, and they're just looking at this as like advertisement for their products and services, right? As some of you guys may have noticed that they have scaled back on Team Pixel members getting devices for reviews. So that's one of the things that I've noticed lately. I don't know if you guys noticed that too as well. Coffee in. Appreciate the super chat, man. So let's just kind of kick the tires and light the fires. Let's go with Gemini. If you guys know what Gemini is, awesome. If you don't worry. You're about to be introduced to it. And I know that it's making its way around more places. So more regions across the globe is going to get Gemini. Now, what Gemini is if you guys remember Google Bard, which started to make its buzz around the same time people were buzzing about Chat GPT and artificial intelligence assistants. Basically, Gemini is the official name of this, right? So in beta, it was called Bard. They now named it Gemini, and Gemini is live. So if you have a Google Pixel phone, Samsung Galaxy device, you should be able to install this. Now, there is a bit of a bug, and I'm going to get into that, which kind of just doesn't look good for the big G brand when they do stuff like this. And I don't know if it's just, clumsiness on their part, not the best, checkpoints to make sure things are okay. So But anyways, so Gemini is downloadable in the Play Store. You can find it in the Play Store, download it, and you're gonna get greeted. As a matter of fact, on this right here, how it shows you all this info right there, it's what it kind of looks like when you open up your device. I mean, I'll show you guys on my Pixel 7 here in just a second. But yeah, it's supposed to replace Google Assistant. So when you install this on your device, it's going to ask you if you wanted to completely replace your Google Assistant. And if you choose to do so, Gemini is what's going to happen when you use a hot phrase, or if you have your power button triggered to initiate, the command for your assistant. Gemini is going to be the one that responds if you set it above Google Assistant. Now, Google Assistant doesn't completely erase from your phone. It's not gone. You can revert back to it if you want to. But I mean, this is, intended to replace that. So at some point, Gemini will be the replacement to Google Assistant. And this is not the first time that we've seen an assistant-based program replace another one, as the original one, which was Google Now, was replaced by Google Assistant. So We started off with Google Now, we got Google Assistant, now we're getting Gemini, and it's evolving as AI evolves, as Google continuously works effortlessly to make the artificial intelligence that much more smarter. Um, so there's not, if you're wondering if there's any like bells and whistles to Gemini, it's a little bit more free range compared to Assistant. Like if you ask Assistant basic questions like, who won the World Series in 2021, or what year was it that I'm trying to think of something that's not going to get me into trouble. What's the fastest timing on a quarter mile for a Nissan Skyline R34 with an RB26 DETT motor? Like if you ask something like that, right, you'll get like responses back on Google Assistant that would give you pretty much like articles, and kind of just read some of the synopsis of the article out loud if there is a synopsis to read. However, Gemini goes a little bit further than that. So you can ask it things like, you can take a picture of a cupcake and then ask it to create you an image of a cupcake with, yellow frosting and Bulbasaur, confetti on it. And Gemini will create something to that extent. Now, it's not perfect by all means. Trust me. I try to see if I can, have it make an image of Thundercats and Voltron together, and it came up with some really weird results. So I wouldn't say it's perfect, right? But it's a work in progress. Again, progress, not perfection, right? It's going to build towards that. But you can have it do a ton of other things too. Like the other day, I literally had it create me the description info for one of my videos, talking about the Pixel 9, and I just told it like, create me a description for my YouTube video on Google Pixel 9, and it just gave me all this info that I copy pasted into the description. So like, you could do a ton of things with this, right? You can have it, create, an essay for you, or to type up a term paper. You could ask it basic, questions, mathematical questions. You can ask it, world, information, like geography and world history, things like that. You can grab a bunch of information. But while Gemini is here and Gemini is available for the masses to use, there are some caveats to Gemini. One of the things that I did notice, and I did this in comparison with two Pixel phones that I have, the 7a and the Pixel 7. And one had Gemini installed on it and replaced Google Assistant. The other one still had Google Assistant and I did not install Gemini. And I asked them both questions, and Google Assistant had a much faster response time. Gemini kind of hung there for about, maybe about like 7 to 8 seconds before giving me information on how orcapods hunt. That was the question. Of course, Google Assistant's answer was pretty straight from like a website. It was like one highlighted response in an answer. While as on Gemini pretty much gave me like a lot of info on how orcapods hunt, some of their tactics, what orcas really are, and like this is like information pulled from like multiple sites. So I don't know if the delay response time is based upon the fact that it is grabbing a lot of information from various different websites and bringing me a custom response with all the information that I would need, based upon the question that I had. But yeah, it did take a little bit of time. Now I can say this: I don't know how fast ChatGPT is in its response. I'll be honest with you guys, I haven't used ChatGPT at all. I've never touched it, never used it, so I won't speak on it. I won't say if Gemini is better than ChatGPT or vice versa. Reason why was because I knew that Gemini was coming, and I wanted a fresh set of eyes and interactions with Gemini, and not for it to be tainted by my views and opinions of another source. Now that I have Gemini, I will try ChatGPT, because I want to know like just how much better ChatGPT is, because everyone has their preferences. Some prefer ChatGPT, some prefer Gemini, some prefer whatever else is out there as far as AI and whatnot. There's like tons of apps that you can download in the Play Store that are of this nature, right? So the battle of AI is here. We knew that AI was the future, and we knew that these companies were going to go towards it, right? It's not long before Apple starts really pushing AI, um, and that's going to be a crazy thing because you know Apple has had a history of sitting in the back and letting all these different Android OEMs just kind of duke it out over a certain thing, and then Apple just brings in theirs, and they say the same thing. They waited until they can perfect it, and who knows if it's going to be like 100 times better than what we have right now, or if it's going to be leaps and bounds ahead. We don't know that, but that's always what Apple's intentions are: is to bring something that is miles ahead of Android, to be ahead of the game, and to kind of gloat in Android OEMs' faces, like, yeah, we had a late start. We gave you guys a 10-second lead off the line, and we still passed you, type of thing. So I don't know if that, if Apple's like going to do that. I can only speculate because over the years of watching all these tech companies and studying their behaviors and patterns, this is where I come up with all these crazy ideas of what's going to happen. But nonetheless, so they in this article they just kind of go over their experience with Gemini, and it's okay, it's decent. It's not anything that I would say is like remarkably like mind blowing just yet. Because over time, of course, the training model for Gemini and what they're going to teach it is going to get better, smarter, and obviously perform better. This is in its early not infant stages anymore, I would say that, because Bard was the infant stage. Gemini is pretty much in its toddler stage. It hasn't even gotten into its adolescence yet, where it's hitting puberty. So, it's we have to see what Google does in the long run with Gemini. However, I will tell you guys that there are some caveats to Gemini. One of them was just what I talked about, the delayed response time as far as getting information. That to me, I feel like over time it will get faster. It will get, yeah. The other thing to it is that people are being met with this crazy message that Gemini is not ready for their Google account just yet. Because there's several key things that you need to have in order for Gemini to work. One is you need the February security patch. Okay, so if your Android device does not have a February security patch ready for it just yet, you just have to wait for the OEM to put that out for you. This is why I like Google Pixels, because technically we get them every month, and it's supposed to be the first Monday of that month. They don't always, hit that mark of giving it on the first Monday of every month. However, they when they do, it's like Christmas in a cup. And yeah, so my devices did get the February 5th security patch. I'm also going to add another topic to the end of this podcast, and that's the Google Pixel 5, but I'll get into that later. But anyways, yeah, so you got to have the February 5th security patch update. Your Google app has to be on the most current version of the Google app. So if it's not, check the Play Store and see if there's an update, and then update to it. And then you install the Gemini app in order for it to replace Google Assistant on your device. Here's the thing. A lot of people are doing that, and they're still coming up with the Gemini is not ready error message. Some people have found some workarounds that have worked. I'm going to tell you guys what those workarounds are. But it seems to be that some people are saying that if you go into your Google app, go to settings, choose Google Assistant or choose Assistant in settings, change the language, and then change it back to English United States, then that should kickstart Gemini to start working. Unfortunately for me, I have Gemini on one of my Google accounts that's on the Pixel 5. And when I tried to activate Gemini on the Pixel 7 under the same Google account, it gave me that error. So I don't know if it's, one device can use Gemini at a time. But I went ahead and switched the Google account because I have like 3 Gmails. So I I switched it to my other Gmail and then reopened the Gemini app, and everything went up just fine. So with that being said, I'll give you guys a quick demo here. So I'll just bring it to full screen real quick. And here we go. All right, so that's what Gemini looks like when you do the home button and it's listening to everything that I'm saying. But what is the capital of China? So you can see the response time is hanging there, and then it gives you a result. It doesn't just start telling you it. So if you want to hear it,
the capital of China is Beijing. It has been the capital for centuries and is home to many important cultural and historical landmarks.
Right. So I do gotta go in settings and change up to whatever voice that I wanted to have. But let's just be within the Gemini app, and this is what the Gemini app looks like. Tells you good afternoon. You have like different options up here that you can pre-select if you want. Like one of them was, finish my gaming podcast tagline, or help me plan a game night with 5 friends. Just these types of things you can ask it. So like right down here at the bottom is where you would type your search query, or if you hit the microphone, you can speak to it, or you can take a picture of something. So like, let me take a picture of my Mario thing right here. So I took a picture of the Mario thing, hit attach, right? And then I can say something like, who is this? And once I type my question out right there, and I send the question, that Jesus, wow. There we go. And so it'll analyze the photo, and then it'll give me back a result. As you can see, and it hangs. The figurine in the image is Mario. Well, I'll just have it tell us.
The figurine in the image is Mario, the main character of the Super Mario Bros. Video game series by Nintendo. This particular figurine is an amiibo, which is a line of Nintendo toys that can be used with certain video games. The amiibo you sent me is based on the 8-bit design of Mario from the original Super Mario Bros. Game that was released for the Nintendo Entertainment System, NES, in 1985. The text on the base of the figurine commemorates the 30th anniversary of the Super Mario Bros. Franchise.
That's pretty accurate for the amiibo, and if you guys want to know what I took a picture of, I had to take a picture of this. So it knew every detail about this amiibo, and even gave that little tidbit that this one was, to commemorate the 30th anniversary of the Super Mario Brothers. So like, it's smart to give you quite a bit of information, but it takes a while to pull that information. So if you're somebody that doesn't have the patience to let the AI hang and actually find all these results, then yeah, you're probably best sticking with Assistant just for a little while until it gets better. Let's see. Georgia, San Joaquin Valley. What's up, man? Beijing. Yeah, but I was asking Gemini. I wasn't asking you guys to answer that. Still getting to know my new. Well, that's great. That's cool. I'm glad you're enjoying the A15. So anyways, as you guys can see, Gemini is far from being perfect. Very far from being perfect. It's still got a ways to go. But, I do like some of the things. I think it just needs to be more intuitive. But once they get the model basically a little bit much more faster in giving you responses and, what you're asking of it to do, I think they can clean up Gemini just a little bit. Like, honestly, I would love to be able to just tap where that microphone is at. Just tap it to initiate the microphone to listen to what I'm saying, instead of it auto listening, which I'm fine with it not auto listening like Google Assistant does. I just want to be able to just like tap it or like flick it or something and just start speaking. With the photo, I think it could be a little bit more polished. You snap a photo, it puts it in like as if you're like in a chat message, and it just hangs there, and you can send the photo to Gemini, or you can type in your question and then send it to Gemini along with the photo. So that way it specifically knows what you want out of that photo. I honestly feel like that they could how they have the smart replies in RCS messaging, they could have a smart inquiry that, one will be like, what is this? One will be like, where's it sold, that type of thing, and you could quickly tap on those to initiate a search, or you could just customize your search just by putting in your question in the chat box. So like I said, Gemini's got ways to go. It'll get better over time. If you guys haven't played around with Gemini, I'd say go ahead and do it. Play around with it. I mean, you can always revert back to Google Assistant. I know for Samsung people, there has been a little bit of an issue with Gemini. Definitely got to go look into that and see what the fix would be for like certain phones. I think that question is directed to Joyce, because One UI is Android, so for me, it's pretty similar. It's just got like extra features and fun stuff to play around with. All right, so let's just kind of kick it into. Let's see. Let me put this link in the chat. You guys can check it out later if you guys want to. But this is going to be on the Google Pixel Fold, Part 2. Yeah, so just people have been a little frustrated, with the Pixel Fold 1. And so now we're already getting info on the Pixel Fold 2. Now, first off, I'm gonna say this: if that is the camera module, why? And why did they make it narrow? Like, honestly, I felt like that the Pixel Fold, hi babe. I honestly feel like that the Pixel Fold, its original Pixel Fold design was good. Like there is no need to make it look like a Samsung Galaxy Fold. I don't see why they would do this. And that camera module is just weird. I feel like that they could have Hang on really quickly. Okay, love, I appreciate you for jumping in, babe. But anyways, yeah, that I don't know. What do you guys think about the design of that? What's your take on the design of the camera module? It has too much advertisement, so it kind of making the page wonky. Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully this is not real, or maybe this is like an alpha state to play around with to see if they're gonna go to something like that. I don't know. You see no point of fold phones anyways. So this is a nice comparison here. Like the Pixel Fold, to me, just has a better design, better aesthetics to it. If we're just gonna judge it straight on hardware. As you see on the Pixel Fold 2, supposedly the Pixel Fold 2, the way that, if they have like triple camera on there, and it's like they're kind of trying to make it into a square. If they're trying to do that, that just, I don't know, that just seems so weird for them to do it like that. Like, I don't know. Because they can still achieve a triple setup just like that. I mean, the Google Pixel 9 is embracing this camera bar on that, which we'll see here in a little bit when we talk about the Google Pixel 9. But I don't see why they would go to this. I don't. If they wanted to make it taller, okay, fine, make it taller. But I don't know. But either way, the overall most important thing about the Pixel Fold 2 is functionality and software. That's really where it's going to be at. I know people are going to be like drastically disappointed in the design. Some people like the design. I mean, if the camera wasn't so protruding on it, then it would be okay. But to have a camera box that big, like, off the back of the phone, it doesn't seem practical. I mean, like, best case scenario is if you're using it in your right hand, you have a place to rest your finger where my mouse is pointing at. to rest your finger to kind of like help you so it doesn't slip. But what if you're a lefty? There's not really anywhere you can really hold it. I don't know. I know people are just upset about that. So besides the design leak of the Pixel Fold 2, I think one of the biggest things going for it is what it's said to have when it releases. And the rumors are circulating that it's going to have the Tensor G4, which is a smart move because when the original Pixel Fold released, it released a couple of months before the Pixel 8. Refreshing. I needed that for a second. So it came out in June, right? The Pixel 8 and 8 Pro, basically that came out in October, right? So like a 4-month difference in time. Yet the Pixel Fold released with the Tensor G2 processor and not the G3. Now, there's not really anything wrong with the G2 processor. I have a Pixel 7 that has a Tensor G2. No problems at all whatsoever with it, really. But for Google to say, okay, we're going to go with our newest processor, the Tensor G4, that is a good call. So basically, you would be introduced to the Tensor G4 ahead of the Pixel 9 launch, which is, it's not going to be detrimental to the Pixel 9 or knowing like the full capabilities of the Tensor G4, simply because not everybody is going to buy the Pixel Fold 2. Again, this is foldable technology. Foldable technology is still expensive today, even though it's been out for, more than 5 years now. It is still expensive, right? You look at the Samsung Galaxy Folds, the Galaxy Flips, you look at the Razer Flips. I love you too, honey. I love when my babe joins my podcast, but she makes me nervous. So anyways, what was I saying? I lost what I was saying. Yeah, the Tensor G2 chip's not bad. The G4, good. Simple fact, not everyone's gonna buy the Pixel Fold 2. It is pricey. The Pixel Fold 1 released at an $1,800 price. That's before taxes. And I'm going to go out on a whim and say that the Pixel Fold 2 is going to release at the same price also. Now, Google will shock everybody if they decide to release this thing and say it costs less. Say that they mark it down to $14.99, right? $400 cheaper than the original Pixel Fold. That would be sweet. I know people were tossing around a lot of rumors, people are tossing around a lot of what if type things. Like, what if Google made an A series foldable? Like the body was made out of polycarbonate and not glass. Could they market it at, a cheap price? Yeah, of course they can market it at a cheap price, but it ain't going to be cheap like you think of a pickle A series, hashtag pickle A. Tito fucked up, hashtag pickle A. Pixel A series, like the 7A, the 8A, which we'll kind of assume the 8A is going to probably be about $499 too. Maybe I'll drop back to $449 in pricing. And we can, but the A series has always been sub $600. I would say that if they made an A series foldable, it wouldn't be in that range. It would be probably like $1,000. Because again, what they're charging a high amount of money on is the display itself, the ability for the display to fold and not snap, crack, or pop. Not a big fan of new design. I don't think a lot of people are. That camera box, I don't know. I think that, so that way Google Pixels that are tensor based going forward, so that, consistency is to keep the camera bar the same way that it was on the Pixel Fold. They can do that on the Fold 2. I know it seems a little bit more narrower than the Pixel Fold, but yeah, you definitely can squeeze a camera sensor there, and there's more than enough room to the end frame to have the noise canceling mic and the flash. So there is a way to have all and it looks like there's four sensors. I don't know why you would need 4 sensors. But yeah, you can definitely keep the bar going across all the way to the frame and just have like, the noise canceling mic and the flash right around here. No big deal at all whatsoever. Like, I don't know. I like this design. And, yeah, people can call me what they want, cheapskate, whatever, whatnot. I am waiting until the price on this thing goes down some where I can get it at a more favorable price. One thing about Google Pixels that I never worry about is being able to keep them on the latest version of Android, because there's so much development outside of Google's hands that there are lots of developers that are still going to continue the life of this device. So if I pick a Pixel Fold next year or the year after to have, I can still keep it up to date. I would just have to, of course, flash custom ROMs on it. So anyways, the Tensor G4 is the big bomb that they dropped that's suspected to be the processor chip of the Pixel Fold 2. Of course, the question here, saying goodbye to the camera bar. I think that's a stupid move. Honestly, Google, don't do it. It took a while to get people used to the camera bar, and if you take that away in favor of this monstrosity, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, once people start using the phone, it's a Google Pixel. So, everything's going to feel nice and, that good Pixel experience, right? So, something like this, I mean, when you put a case on it, you can probably morph the way it's going to look to you and it'll be acceptable. But yeah, if they could change it and it's not in its final stages, keep the camera bar. I mean, the reason I'm not saying that this is 100% foolproof, it's new design. I mean, when the Pixel 5 was being leaked and everyone was talking about it, it had this weird camera thing in the back. And then we ended up getting the Pixel 5 with a square camera module on the back and, Snapdragon 765G chip inside of it, sage green color. And yeah, so when it gets close to that time, it gets close to that time. To be quite honest with everybody. All right. We're going to get into the Google Pixel 9. This came Dexerto.com. Let me put the link in the chat so you guys can check it out for yourselves. There you have it. As it says, Google Pixel 9 might be even slower than the Pixel 8, according to leaked benchmarks. So look, here's the thing, right? Anyone could run benchmarks at the end of the day. I don't ever put stock in benchmarks because I've seen publications say that, yeah, this phone scored very low on a benchmark. And then when I get the phone in hand and it's fucking buttery smooth and just anything that I would want out of it is there. And it's so I don't put a lot of stock into benchmarks. Now, benchmarks, can it tell the tale of how powerful the processor chip is? Yeah, to an extent. But there's a lot of factors when it comes to how a phone behaves, right? Obviously, yes, hardware is a factor in it. Software optimization is a factor in it. And then the last part of it is how you use the phone. Okay, how you use the phone, what types of things are you running on your phone, putting on your phone, doing with your phone, that also makes a big difference. This is why everybody's experience, everyone could be handed a Google Pixel 9 all throughout the United States. And I guarantee you, not everybody is going to have the exact same experience. Yeah, it's stupid to add wobble to the camera. Makes better sense to add auto stability to the camera for crystal clear shots. Yeah. I mean, to be honest with everybody, Google Pixels takes amazing photos, right? But if you really want that professional photography, you're gonna have to go with a DSLR or mirrorless camera. You're gonna have to go with one of those. Not really gonna achieve that so much with a smartphone. That is me being a student of photography, not going to college for it, but me, trying it out, wanting to get good at it. And I do want to show people what you can do with smartphone cameras in photography, but I am not delusional to think that I would ever put any photo that I have up against like a professional photographer who uses various different lenses to achieve certain shots, no way that my Pixel 7 is going to go up against that. But my Pixel 7 does take amazing photos, though. That's the thing. Photos that's taken from a smartphone, right? So yeah. Anyway, the Google Pixel 9, Google Tensor G4 chip, which is poised to power the Pixel 9, has been spotted on Geekbench 5 with disappointing scores. So this is like way before the Pixel 9 is even out, and this is way before that. Google has officially stamped this is how it's going to be. You know what I mean? So if I was to kind of give an idea of just how, all this stuff goes, I believe that, they work on the next processor chip and then they do testing, and benchmarks happens to be one of the things that they do to test the chip to make sure that it's going to be able to withstand a lot of the things that the phone is intended to do. And if those benchmarks get leaked, like as this one did, we can't go and say that, okay, this is the final result, because the phone is not slated until an October release of 2024. We are only in February, okay? We got 8 more months before we even start to get to that point where it's slated for release. And we got another 7.5 months before we start getting like all these leaked official features and just info about the device, right? So an article such as this, talking about the Geek benchmarks, Geekbench 5 and all this other stuff, yada, yada, yada. Let's see. Yeah, so they got a tweet. Device name, Google Tokay. Single core, 1082, multi-core, 3121, CPU Cortex X4, MP1, 3.10 gigahertz, plus a Cortex A7. They don't know what the last two numbers of the Cortex A7 model is, but that's clocked at 2.6 gigahertz. And then you got a Cortex A500, which is a MP4, 1.9 gigahertz. And you got the Mali G17 GPU. So there's still key info missing here. And why there's key info missing when it comes to this benchmark thing is because this is not the entire thing yet. Again, why is it opening? Do not open Twitter. But yeah, that's not the entire thing just yet. Like when it comes to these things, I don't bet. You know what I'm saying? I don't bet on it, right? That's like going to say that you plant a seed in oil and you bet it's going to grow as a mango. Well, you don't even know what type of seed it is, so you can't really make that distinguished, bet that it's going to be a mango when it grows and then out sprouts a freaking banana tree. It's not one of those things. So, am I worried about the G4 chip being slower than the Tensor G3? No, I am not worried at all. Now, if it gets close to the release time, and this is what we're gonna get, well, okay, we'll see what we're cooking with. The Pixel 9 is about to make a big page turn in the Google Pixel lineup. This is something that I think, is escaped, right? One of the things I talked about in my blog video today when I was hiking up South Mountain, I made mention, that people were talking about the design of the Google Pixel 9 and how it steals from the iPhone because of the whole boxed flat rail design. And I'm like, that's ridiculous because Samsung did it too. And, you just, when you look at the Google Pixel 9 and you look at the leaked images of of what is about to happen to it, okay? And you clearly see that, Google is turning a page, right? So the back of the Google Pixel 9, very, very Pixel Fold looking, right? The camera bar doesn't extend all the way to the frame. Some people hate that. Some people are okay with it. I am okay with it not being all the way to the frame of the device. We do get the flat sides and top, making it a rectangular box shape. And obviously you can fit more things into a phone that is built that way than one that's rounded. The biggest thing that's being talked about that I think is worth really just kind of considering here is both Google Pixel 9 and Pixel 9 Pro are slated to have 3 camera sensors. So can they be moving away from this model of having a base model that has, a wide angle main shooter, an ultra wide angle shooter, and now bringing in the telephoto shooter that you find in the Pro model? And then what would be the absolute difference between the Pro model and the base model? If Google does this, this is actually a good look for Google. Now, will this impact us as a customer? Hell yeah, it will. It will definitely impact us as a customer, because then I won't see the base model Google Pixel 9 being $599 or $699. I definitely see the base model being $899 and then the Pro model being $999. Now, that's me thinking that they want to rake in the money, okay? Of course, they've been known to trick us before. They have made something like the Pixel 6 and the Pixel 6 Pro. Nice looking devices, very premium feeling, all that shebang that everyone looks for, and they priced the base model at $599. So if the Pixel 9 drops at a $599 price tag, coming $100 less than what the Pixel 8 launched at, that would be great. The 9 is already supposed to be about the same size as the Pixel 8, so not reduced in size anymore, but new design as far as the flat rails and stuff like that, and 3 camera sensor setup. That would be great. If they brought in basically the telephoto lens, if that's what the third lens is going to be on the base model, along with the ultra wide and then the wide angle main shooter, I mean, yeah, I'm thinking, this would be great. I'm just hoping that they don't do what most businesses tend to do, which is always a fatal mistake for them. I hope that they're not going to try and make some sort of circus out of this and be like, yeah, the Pro model, we're going to sell it for $1,000, right? $999. But our Pixel 9 is going to sell for basically $900, right? $899. Like, that could be the most wrongest thing to do, especially when you've created a group called Team Pixel. You put Pixel phones in their hands every year that a new Pixel comes out. You have them make YouTube videos talking about the Google Pixel phones. And a lot of these reviewers, if you don't take my word for it, go back and watch their videos. A lot of these tech reviewers mention one thing when it comes to the newer tensor-based Google Pixel phones. And that one new thing is the pricing, and how the pricing is so much better. The pricing undercuts Samsung, the pricing undercuts iPhones. You're getting a flagship device, flagship specifications, flagship performance at a lesser price than these guys that's been doing it for years. That's what you get with a lot of reviewers that talk about Google Pixel and a lot of Team Pixel fans. That's what you get. So if you stray away from that model that has gotten you in the limelight, because you got to think that the fact that they make the Tensor chip, the fact that they lower the price on their flagship devices compared to other competition out there, right? The fact that they're heavily focused on AI. When you look at all these things, this is what got them in the limelight and got people looking in the direction. Any average Joe off the streets, like, if I can get a phone that can perform like an iPhone for less than what an iPhone costs, I'll get it. And they bought the Pixel and it got sold. There's like 5 or 6 different freaking blogs I've read about Google Pixels where the person was an avid iPhone user and switched over to the Pixel only because it costed less, and they use the phone and the phone performs good, and they feel like there is no like major draw, or cutoff for going to a Pixel. So price is what Google had going for it. Now, the fear in a lot of people was when the 8 dropped. The 8 came out at a $699 price tag, the same price that the Pixel 5 launched for. That's got people worried. Me personally, if they keep everything pretty much similar between the 9 and the 9 Pro, and the only huge difference between them is the size of the phone, so be it. I'm comfortable with that. But I think the price has to match it. And so I'm saying it now. I know we're 8 months ahead of October, but I'm saying it now. Pixel 9 needs to launch at its older price of $599. The 9 Pro, because there's not a huge difference between them, should launch at a $699 price tag. That's hella cheap, yes, some reaching. So more than likely, they'll probably go a step above and charge like $699 for the base model and $799 for the Pro model, or $899 for the Pro model. But they got to have something coming into the Pro model. Now, one of my fears about them giving the extra camera sensor into the base model, allowing you to have all 3 camera sensors that you would have on the Pro model, I feel like that features, AI features, Pro features, are going to be the differentiator between the 9 and the 9 Pro. And that's going to suck, because if they decide to take things like Magic Eraser, Magic Audio Eraser, and all these other things that we get and only give that specifically to the Pro model, that would be detrimental. Do I think Google will do that? No, I don't think Google would do that. Here's why. Because if you have a Google One subscription, right? If you subscribe to Google One, whether it's their 100 gigabyte cloud storage, 200 gigabyte cloud storage, or 1 terabyte, no matter which plan you have. But if you have Google One, you already have access to Magic Eraser. For non-Pixel phones, Magic Eraser is available for iPhones, for Samsung Galaxies, for Motorola's. So long as you have the Google One subscription in Google Photos, you will have access to Magic Eraser to edit your photos in your photo gallery.
Sorry, I don't understand.
I didn't ask you anything. Oh no, Brian. Don't scare me like that. Brian says 9 Pro will be $1,000, 9 will be $900. Yeah. And if that happens, there's gonna be so many people upset. Those conversions, iPhone to Pixel just doesn't have volume. Few people even attempt to leave the Apple web. Yeah. But there are some people who did leave, and I guess what they needed out of a smartphone, they got it right in Pixel. So when you have people locked into the Apple ecosystem, they're really locked into a lot of the offered features that Apple has, right? The simplicity of AirDrop is one of the major things. That's one of the major things that I know of, right? iMessage, I know people talk about iMessage. That's about to be like kind of like squashed a little bit. I don't think it's gonna like completely get rid of that whole stigma of iMessage, only because even though like Apple's adopting RCS in their messaging platform for Android users to have that type of chat with iPhone users, it's still not gonna be a full replacement for like someone that just wants somebody with iMessage. 90% of high school students use iPhones. Yeah, I guess. Nearby Share is absolutely fantastic. I use it heavily, and yeah, there's things that I wish Google would actually like push to the forefront for people to know that they have, right? So if you've used Nearby Share, you know how it performs, right? I've used it, I know how it performs, but there's not a lot of tout about it that people are familiar with Nearby Share or whatever they're going to call it. They've called it so many names. But yeah, it works seamlessly. I didn't have any issues at all using it or have to go through like hoops just to get it to share a file from my device to another device. Speaking of which, later on I got to prep the Pixelbook original, like the OG Pixelbook. I found an article that allows me to install Windows on it, and so I might install Windows on my Pixelbook. See how that goes. Do you feel like that it's going to be $749 and start at 256 gigabyte storage capacity? Yeah, I think we're just right on that edge where 128 is no longer feasible. It's we got like people are gonna start using 256. Like I'll be honest with everybody, I don't have a lot of stuff on my phone. Like I have phones that are 64 gigs, and I can still use it. My Pixel 4 XL is a 64 gig storage capacity, and I can use it just fine. A lot of my things, photos, stuff like that, are all backed up to cloud. And for like a physical location, I have an external drive connected to my PC, and like everything goes to that too as well. So I have backups of backups. So I mean, I rely on cloud storage. I always have. Um, but yeah, a 64 gig Pixel 4 XL, I can still use it. Now I'm not saying that they should go back to 64 gigs. No one crucify me for that. I'm not saying that at all whatsoever. I know a lot of people out there carry a lot of files on them. They have a lot of very sensitive material information that they don't want backed up to the cloud, and so like it takes up storage on their phone. So yes, we are on the cusp of where we need to flip the page and 256 be the base for a lot of these. And you'll know when that's happening when you start seeing a lot of like mid-rangers start throwing 256 storage capacity as their base model. I use my Pixel to send photos to iPhones, even though I haven't. I mean, I've today, doesn't matter what phone I carry. I switch around different Android devices, but the iPhone 12 is always consistently in my pocket, not because I enjoy iOS over Android or iPhone over Pixel. It's just there's not a lot of iOS devices that I would need to switch around to try out. So the iPhone 12 just keeps one of my Sims in it all the time, and I just switch out between Android devices. But it's usually always a Pixel that I tend to use. Every now and then when I want to have a little fun, I use Samsung. I use One UI when I want to get like stupid stupid funny with it, I call it. Yeah, but you have so many phones. If you only used one phone. Yeah, no, because I would say different for this. Like I said, a lot of things are backed up to cloud. So everything for me that I need is accessible in cloud. Because like I don't set up the phones separately. Like when I wipe them, everything from one device is connected by cable and is sent to the other device, so it has like the same thing. I just don't use a lot of things. Honestly, I don't. I just don't use a lot of things. Like social media apps and stuff like that don't take up a lot of room in your phone. What really takes up a lot of room in my phones that I've noticed is photos. Now, someone wants to say like, well, you play games. Pokemon Go is not a storage hungry gaming app. And I don't play a lot of like major game apps, because like at one time, my Pixel 5a that I'm using as my webcam, this was my gaming phone, right? So I have it with like a controller, a Bluetooth controller that has a mount for it. And when I was playing games like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Shredder's Revenge, Streets of Rage 4, King of Fighters, all these other games, those took up a lot of storage because those are gaming files. And I don't do a lot of games on my phone. Video recording can take up a huge amount of storage space. It can if you leave the file on it. Like I said, everything backs up to cloud for me. So when I'm home connected to my Wi-Fi, every video begins backing up to the cloud. And then once a day, I go into Google File Storage, and everything that's backed up is wiped off my phone. So again, there's not really anything on my phone except for contacts, messages, a few photos, maybe some wallpaper downloads, and apps that I use. That's it. As far as videos, photos, all that is backed in the cloud. That's how I use my phone. So that's how I'm able to use things that's like only 64 gigs of storage, 128, and like, it's not filled up. Like I'll show you guys right now what my storage is on my Pixel 7. My Pixel 7, I think it's like 40% full. Let's go. Storage. Out of 128, I have 43 gigabytes. And you can see like what the most heaviest parts are is video, because some videos I took today, it's 12 gigabytes in size, and apps are 17 gigs in file. Right? There's no audio files, there's no documents. Images is only 285 megabytes. If you guys want to get a close look at what I have in my storage, I don't keep a lot on my phone. A lot of it is backed up to cloud. And I have Google One subscription because of Metro by T-Mobile. I also have backup clouds to that. I also use OneDrive. Yeah. I don't save like any like say like YouTube videos. You know how you can download YouTube videos? I don't save any of those to my phone. Um, to watch if there's like a power outage or anything like that. It's a very good point. That's pretty cool too. So you know you have something to do. But like with me, when the power goes out, like which is rare, but when it does happen here, believe it or not, I have books in my closet, and I bust out a book that I haven't finished, and I begin reading chapters. So I mean that's what I do to pass the times. However, if I was in your shoes and I downloaded videos to my phone to watch in case of a power outage or something, or you know no Wi-Fi access or internet access, yeah, I'm pretty sure that my storage will be filled up. You gotta think, you know, you download movies and you want them in the highest resolution so you can watch the movie crystal clear. You know, give or take a movie being like 7 to 8 gigabytes if it's 1080p. Imagine if you downloaded that thing in 4K. Yeah, I do feel we're at that edge. You're right, TJ. We are at the cusp where 256 is going to become the base model. You miss SD cards? Believe it or not, okay, so like you guys know I have the Galaxy A53, right? Older phone, there's an A54 that's out already. There's an A55 that's coming up. Brian just said the reason why that I have no rush to upgrade to the A55 or the A54. And that's because the A53 still supports micro SD card. Like I have a micro SD card that I've bonded as part of the internal storage to my Galaxy A53. Right, so it's a 128 gig base model with a 256 storage capacity because of the SD card. And there is a 128 SD card. That is true. When we start expecting 256 to being the base model, of course we have to expect a price increase, right? Business runs just the same way, like you know, gas, right? I don't know if everyone knows this about gasoline, but you ever notice that like gas prices are high? And they stay high for like a few months, right? Like here in Phoenix, like highest price right now in Phoenix is like $5.19, right? Give or take. Okay, that's pretty high for us, right? So it'll stay $5.19 for like maybe like 5 or 6 months, and all of a sudden it'll drop down to like $3 and some change, $2 and some change. So everyone will go bananas. But if you think about it, before the price hike of gasoline, gas here costed like $2.29 a gallon. So it kind of went back down to where we were used to it being at before. And we're looking at that as a huge discount, which means that our brain is starting to normalize the $5.19 price as normal. So when it goes back up, as a slow incline back up to where they had it at $5.19, now $5.19 seems normal. Not a lot of people are complaining. Some people are still saying, yeah, gas prices are high, but they're not that angry and aggressive about it like how they used to be when it first went up. Oh yeah, I mean, like I did a video years back comparing cloud storage to SD card, and they both have their pluses and minuses. The only minus of an SD card is that you just have to worry about it being corrupted. But if you don't like pop open a phone while it's powered on, taking off the SD card, you kind of minimize the chances of the SD card being corrupted, especially if you're not using it as a adaptable storage, which I mean, I do that, but when I do that, I'm not taking out the SIM card quite often for the SD card to be impacted. But if you use it as adaptable storage to extend the internal storage of your device, you increase the chances of the SD card getting corrupted by continuously removing it. But never remove an SD card when the phone is powered on. Same way like you would treat it on a computer. You know, you want to eject it first. You want to go into your settings, you want to go into your storage, go to, you know, external storage, and then click eject, then take the SD card out. But yeah, that was probably the only caveat to an SD card, is that it could possibly get corrupted. With cloud, you're now depending on a server somewhere in the yonder. And if that goes down, all your info is down. If that gets, you know, breached, all your info is out there. SD card support on phones for the cheap, low budget phones are more better than if you want to put it on a high end phone while it's taking up more space. Yeah, okay. I mean, I would love for Google to adopt SD card support and bring SD card as an option for people. Like for me, I feel like the more options you have, the better it is. Not everybody would want to use an SD card. I get that. That's totally fine. You don't have to. Just because it would support an SD card with an SD card slot doesn't mean that you have to use one. But for those people who want to use one, because like for me, oh my gosh, if Google Pixels had an SD card support, that's where a lot of my photos and videos for like my second channel, my photography channel / whatever channel, when I want to make videos just kind of showing you guys what the cameras do, it'd be so much easier to just move it here to my PC really quickly just to get those photos and videos out, because I would just eject the SD card and then connect it to my PC and bam, it's there, you know? Yeah, you can use things like Nearby Share, but it'd be much faster to just take a physical device out and plug it in and boom, all my photos are there. Because like sometimes I don't feel like, you know, transferring it to my PC. So like those videos on my second channel, those are all edited on my phone. Like the same phone I record and take pictures with, I just do the edit there. If it's a comparison, then I do the edit on the iPhone, because like it's like weird when you back up photos and videos to Google Drive so I can get it accessible directly on my Pixels. It's just weird. Like with iPhones, you got to keep it open in the foreground. You can't put it in the background and let it still upload. It's weird. At least for the way that I have my iPhone set up, because for like, you know, the background app refresh on iOS, I have that turned off. I don't have it on to where it eats my battery fast. Well, I mean, it is what it is on that. The one-time purchase is the thing that made it the best. Subscriptions to everything instead of actual owning anything is honestly another step towards dystopia. Yeah. And yeah, so with that, that's pretty much the show for today. I appreciate everybody for coming in. Been on here for about an hour now, so I think we're good on that. If you came in like later parts, there's other parts to the podcast that you guys may have missed. You guys can go back and catch the replay on that. If you're catching it as a replay watcher, #replay crew, really appreciate you guys for that. And then again, you know, just leave your comments, you know, for those that watch the replay, leave your comments on what you think of the Pixel Fold 2, Google Pixel 9, and Gemini. Let me know what you guys think about that. If you guys tried it out, what do you guys think of Gemini? Yes, leave your thoughts in the comment spots. I can't talk today. I don't know what it is. Like today has just been like, the afternoon's been blah. Went hiking this morning, everything was fine. I was feeling energetic. And then right now, in the evening time, I was feeling blah. But maybe it's just because, you know, extensive workout and everything like that, it's making me tired. Tomorrow, I'm taking a break from hiking. Tomorrow, my wife and I are going to work out at home. So she's got her yoga mat and everything. Doing some yoga. I'm going to be doing some weightlifting and strength training and stuff like that. So it's like, you know, switch off. Hike throughout the week. Work out on the weekends at home, and probably go back to the gym. But I mean, you guys will see more of that, because like I'll vlog where I'm at places. Like if I go to a different hiking trail, I'll take some pictures there and post it. So follow me on the second channel. That's where a lot of my photography stuff is at, as well as like my wrestling talk and my other, you know, non-tech subjects that I want to talk about, live streaming on there. Follow that channel. Definitely appreciate it. I'll put the link in the description later. But I love you guys very much. You guys are awesome. Be safe out there. The world is crazy, so be safe. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time.